on Politics Social. Welcome. I've realised that I've set my camera up wrong. I should have twisted it the other way. I'm going to be looking at your messages, and it's going to be looking like I'm looking way off the camera. So what I'm going to try. Oh no, I'm not going to try and do anything. Right, it is. You just have to put up with my camera being located. The camera on my phone is on the right side. It should be on the left side. Never mind. Anyway, it is Friday, the 13th of December, 2024. Jason Voorhees says hi. So does his mum. And I'm back in Durham, back in lovely, sunny Durham. Yay. Also, I haven't got my studio set up, my green screen and everything, because there's a really important cable that connects my camcorder to my computer. And I lost that cable in Panama. So I don't have it. So you're on my phone. Right, you're on my phone. Okay, so I hope that doesn't worry you about the quality of the broadcast today. I'm very sorry about the sound and everything. I'm not using my fancy microphone. You see, oh shit, oh yeah, see, fancy microphone not being used. Anyway, so news in this morning. The economy has shrunk by like the 0.5% or something, 0.1%. In October, which has it's put a bit of a kibosh on the plans of Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer to kickstart the economy, because they have aspirations. Aspirations are always a good thing. They have aspirations to have the fastest growing economy in the G7. Yeah, it's going to happen. Does anyone know why it's not going to happen? Does anyone want to say it with me? Do you want to say it with me? That's right. It's not going to happen because of Brexit. There you go. I've said it. And someone had to say it. Someone had to refer to the elephant in the room. That is Brexit. And Russell Cannon, straight in there. Hi, Russell. How you doing? Good to see you again. Brexit. The Brexit that the hate that dare not speak its name. Not great for the economy. I'm just doing a little bit of calculations here. So it's a 4% hit a year to our economy. So by month, is that 4% a month lower than it should be? So are we to presume that if it wasn't for Brexit, our economy would actually be growing by 3.9%? Month on month, quarter on quarter, year on year, for 3.9%. That's what it looks like to me. I don't know what it looks like to you, but it certainly looks like the only way they're going to fix this problem of us not having any money is by rejoining the EU, which they've ruled out. Said they're going to do that. Okay. Can we rejoin the single market? No, you can't rejoin the single market either. Okay, can we rejoin the customs union? No, you can't rejoin the customs union. Why not? The people have spoken. Well, I think the people in 2016 spoke. Well, they stuttered, stumbled, drunkenly, slurred into a quagmire of despair because they voted to impose economic sanctions on ourselves. The first country in history to vote to do that, to literally impose economic sanctions on itself, but not the last country to do that, because obviously Argentina did that with the election of Javier Milei, and America has done it now because they said, do you know what we really want? What we really want, like the Spice Girls once sang. Do you know what we really want? We want sanctions. We want tariffs. Sorry, even better, tariffs. We want tariffs. So Brexit was all about the tariffs. It was all about bringing in non-tariff barriers, which are essentially tariffs. Like a tariff is a tax that you pay on imports. And if you've got to pay a bit more for your imports, it's a tariff. I mean, they can word it differently and say, "Oh, no, it's just a compensatory fund for helping facilitate the movement of goods from one country to another." But the reality is, it's a tariff. One way or another, it's a tariff. If it costs you more to import stuff than it used to, it's usually a tariff. And the people of America have voted for tariffs. They've voted for economic sanctions on themselves. They want everything that they buy from China which is 80% of the stuff that's sold on Amazon in America, they want it all to be more expensive. They're like, oh no, I'm sorry, I'm not being fleeced enough. This is the squeezed generation, the millennials, are saying, oh, I can't afford to get rent on my house. I can't even think about getting a mortgage. I can't afford to have children. Can't afford even to do cocaine. It's not the 80s anymore. And the response to that is, I know. Let's make things even more expensive. Basics. Just the basics. So they're going to have American phones now, I guess, I suppose, because they don't want Chinese-made iPhones anymore, which cost about $1,000 to buy in the shop. No, instead we're going to have American-made iPhones, which will cost $15,000 to buy in the shop. Okay. Sounds sensible. I really, really want to suck a cigar, says Dark 4x4 indeed. We want an epiphany of life on Earth. That'd be good. To be fair on me, she's got a hell of a task, and it's going to take an effort to turn this ship. That is very charitable of you, Scott. But let's face it. This plant behind me, it didn't get any water while I was away, so it's kind of. I don't worry. I watered it yesterday. Oh no, I'm gonna have to put more water in. I'm feeling the soil here. That's not great. Sorry. Anyway, moving on. Lol, great. We should redo the math. The economy would be bigger. It would not grow all the time by that number. Yes, it would be bigger and bigger and bigger every year, because it would be 4% of the 4% of the 4% of the 4%. Or something. Veg Pie, thank you very much for the £2 super chat there. Boris Johnson's Brexit, not what people voted for. Well, Veg Pie, that's where you're wrong, because people did vote for Boris Johnson. They voted for him in 2019 because the opposition at the time was a bit of a joke. Not my fault. I tried to warn them. I warned them. I said, you never make your money back. I said, it's not gonna happen. You're really, really unpopular, mate. I've tried to tell them that he was really unpopular. He wouldn't listen. Wouldn't listen to me. I wish they had listened to me. That would have been good. Should have listened to me. But who am I? Anyway, yes, I'm being a bit facetious at the idea that the economy would have grown at 4% every day for the next 27 years had we not vested. But it'd be a lot better. We'd be a lot better off. We'd be a lot better off around the margins, as they say. And also, don't forget, Brexit lost us £1 trillion worth of assets, which is just insane. Like, that's how much assets left the country as a direct result of Brexit, and went to Dublin and Paris and Rome and Frankfurt and other places around the European Union because they didn't want to leave it here because we were too unpredictable. Because people liked the cut of Boris Johnson's jib, because he's a two-faced lying weasel, a love rat who forced his mistress to have 2 of his abortions and then lied about it and got kicked out of the shadow cabinet back in the early 2000s, only to come back like a bad smell in an elevator. In 2008, was it, when he became fucking the mayor of London? Became mayor of London? Jesus, no. No sleep rule. It's still Thursday. I thought in 2019 they voted to get Brexit done, but didn't realise the small point was and get us the worst deal. Yeah, but that's exactly what we expected from the Tory government and Boris Johnson at the time. It was going to be the worst deal imaginable, because Boris Johnson isn't a very good man. He's not a very good person. He's not great. He's a bad man, and he's also incompetent. And this is the thing that one of the few things that I will grab hold of. This is my copium. This is my copium. The incompetence of Trump and the people around him. He is not just himself, but the people he has surrounded himself are nitwits, incompetents, brain donors, half-wits, fuckwits, gobshites. Just they're all idiots. Like, they're all genuine below 100 IQ morons. The type of people who, had they been born 100 years earlier, they would have been quietly put in the sanitarium by their rich family just to keep them out of trouble. But unfortunately, we don't do that anymore, because we've all become woke. Trump is woke. The idea that someone that stupid can become the leader of the so-called free world is woke. That whole idea is woke. Trump is woke because it's being compassionate towards people with severe difficulties in just being a normal person who's not an idiot. Yeah, we can't call them idiots anymore because that's not woke. And so, yeah, Trump is woke. But, you know, you listen to those dickheads who are on the internet all the time, not me, other dickheads, and they'll tell you that everyone's woke. You know, everything I don't like is woke. I don't like Trump, so I think he's woke. Okay, Graham, great to see you doing okay. And lol, satnav, name plus comment. Worst part is for most, that's from Donkey says, worst part for most is they don't know how much bigger a trillion is over a billion, over a million. They barely know how big it is a Brazilian. Yeah. So my standard explanation of how much a trillion pounds is. So if you had a stack of £50 notes, a stack of £1 million in £50 notes would be 6'6", so quite a tall person, right? 6'6", right? The height of a £1 billion in £50 notes would be twice the height of the Burj Khalifa, the highest building in the world in the UAE in Dubai. That the height of £1 trillion in £50 notes would be 5 times higher than the International Space Station. And don't forget, each note is only the thickness of a piece of paper. £1 trillion is a truly eye-watering sum. But the dickhead Elon Musk, the lucky dickhead. I mean, they're all lucky. They're all incredibly lucky. That's why one of the things that drives up the wall about rich people is when they pretend that they're not, you know, they're somehow not the luckiest badgers in the world. Like how? What? How do you work that one out? You know, Trump isn't the luckiest person that has ever lived. That no one else would have got away with the shit that he's got away with and then become president. Like the guy is a murderer. He's a rapist. He's like committed transgressed every one of the 10 commandments many times over. I mean, the man is an absolute slug of a human being, and yet he always lands on his feet, his fat, podgy, horrible feet. But yeah, Elon Musk is now worth over 400 billion. So that's 4/10 yeah, it's only 4/10. 4/10 of or 2/5 even. 2/5 of $1 trillion. That's how much he is worth now, with his juicy government contracts for Starlink and SpaceX and Tesla. So every Tesla car sold in America gets about an £8,000 subsidy off John Q taxpayer. Do you think when he goes into his Doge efficiency mode, he's going to say, hey, why are we giving so much money from the taxpayer to my companies when I'm already the richest man in the world? No, I don't think he's going to say that. But, you know, one thing's good is that, you know, CEOs are taking their pictures down off the websites, and they're hiring bodyguards because they're a bit scared. Oh, fear. Okay. Fear. Ooh, that's a new emotion for them, isn't it? Something the rest of us have had to live with for years, and now they're feeling it. And there are some out there who feel like we should be sad that, you know, a person's died. But at the same time, why would I be sad that Colonel Gaddafi died, or Hitler, or Trump, or anyone I don't particularly like who's responsible for the deaths of thousands, if not millions of people? I mean, the guy who got shot last week was literally a guy who oversaw a company that killed thousands of Americans every year by saying, no, sorry, we don't cover that. So people held off getting their cancer treatment that they needed, or even getting a scan, getting an MRI to discover whether it was cancer or not. They put it off. Maybe they put it off for a few weeks because the healthcare company said, oh no, it's not under coverage. It's not under coverage. I'm like, okay, it's not under coverage. Okay. So yeah, so can we just confirm that that's completely correct? Oh yeah, we'll just take 5 weeks to get back to you. Okay, we're back to you now. Yeah, actually, you can have that MRI. Okay, great. I'll go and have that MRI today then. Oh, hang on. Oh no, it's broken. Oh God, it's cancer. Oh, it's gone too far. Oh no, I'm going to die now because the healthcare the insurance company refused to pay for my MRI that I was needed 5 weeks ago. That could have saved my life. Because in medicine, these it's kind of urgent, urgent. It's kind of urgent when people need to be seen. It's why the NHS and Americans will say, "Oh, but you have to wait 2 years to get yourself an operation." Sometimes you do, yeah, but that's only because of the Tories. And also, if it's life and death, no, you don't. No, you do not. I went into the doctors earlier this year and said I had chest pain, and they got an ambulance for me. Like, they literally wanted me to go into an ambulance and go to the main hospital here in Durham straight away for an x-ray of my chest, just to make sure, because they're like that concerned about people who might have a heart attack, I guess. And good, I'm glad that they were that concerned. By the way, I didn't actually get an ambulance. Catherine drove me in, but I wasn't allowed to drive myself, which was quite interesting. They said, no, you can't drive yourself just in case you have a heart attack while you're driving. So in you go. And I was seen and scanned within 25 minutes, and it was free. And I think that they should give you a receipt when you leave the GP surgery or the clinic or the hospital, and of how much it would cost if you were an American, just to make people shit their pants and go, oh my God, the NHS is awesome. The other thing that we need to do, and I'll be talking about this on Sunday Roast on Sunday. I'm going to be a guest on Sunday Roast on Sunday with Alex and the gang. And we're going to be talking about the fact that Nigel Farage, wants an American-style insurance model healthcare system in this country because he can afford it. He can easily afford it. He'll get the best possible care. Of course he will. Whereas Americans, generally speaking, were the most expensive healthcare system in the world and the worst for outcomes. They have a country where the average life expectancy is going down. It's going down. The number of women dying in childbirth is going up. The only developed, or should say, advanced economy in the world where that's happening. In the USA, you can't know how much it is until the negotiation between the hospital and Brian's little insurance company. Yep. Once you're older, they don't send an ambulance. It was either leave the EU or let Interpol arrest the Windsor family, says Satnav. Yeah. Well, another thing in the news today is about Prince Andrew, innit? He does pick his friends wisely, doesn't he? So he was besties with America's most notorious pedophile, and now he's moved on from that, and now he is he was mates with a guy who's wanted as a Chinese spy, because that's the sort of thing that happens, isn't it? Oh my God, what a world, what a time to be alive. Anyway, back to the economy. So, any ideas? I want to know from you, right, watching this now. I want you to get on your tappity on your screens or on your phones, just thummy. I want to know what your ideas are, apart from rejoining the EU. You're not allowed to rejoin the EU or the single market, the customs union. How do you grow the British economy? That's the question. That's the Gordian knot. That is the task, the impossible task, the impossible riddle that I'm setting you. So any ideas? Just let me know in the chat. Now, like, what could we do? What would help foreign investment come flooding back in? In the UK in 2016, we had the highest amount of foreign direct investment in our history. It was an insane amount of countries that just wanted to invest in us. Other people from other countries wanting to invest in our country. Brilliant. Money coming in. And then the Tories said, no, we don't want that. We don't want money. Yeah, we've got enough money ourselves. And don't forget, all their bank accounts are in the Cayman Islands and other countries. They don't care what our economy's doing here. They don't give a shit. All they care about is themselves. But yeah, has anyone got any ideas apart from rejoining the EU? Small-scale community farms, hyper-localized economic hubs, cancel VAT on all goods made and sold in the same county, hypercharging direct circular economics. That's quite good ideas in there, Satnav. I like that. Wealth tax or eat the rich. I don't think eating the rich will make us money, but a wealth tax, that'd be a great idea. And to a lot of rich people, they'll look at this and go, what are you talking about? So why are you saying? I don't know why they've got Scouse accents, but why are you saying if you take money off us, there's going to be no more money? No. If we take money off the rich, right, and then we redistribute that money to people who aren't particularly rich, then the people who aren't particularly rich have more money to spend on shit, that they need and stuff that they don't need as well, which powers the economy. It's why austerity was such a stupid idea, because it meant that you were taking money out the pockets of people who would spend it in this country and effectively giving it to billionaires who don't spend any money in this country because all their investments are abroad and they get everything they need for free. Like, people send them clothes and shit to wear. I mean, people send them food and hampers, and they go to the Oscars and they get a little goodie bag worth $28,000 full of goodies, which they don't need because they're already millionaires. Did I mention they're already millionaires? Millionaires get free stuff all the time. They get free tickets to gigs that they can afford to go to. When people get into Glastonbury for free, paid for by somebody else, and you're like, okay, but you can afford the ticket, right? Right? You can afford the ticket. Not that I got a ticket this year. Golden Boy, £5 super chat. Thank you very much, Golden Boy. That's very kind of you. The EU has entered into a significant economic agreement with South America. Remaining a member of the EU would provide us with numerous advantages. Absolutely, Golden Boy. You couldn't put it more succinctly or correctly. Yes, the EU is a machine for creating really great trade deals. And the reason why Britain was able to make loads of trade deals after Brexit was that they were really low quality trade deals. We rushed them, and we gave the other side far too much because we didn't want to waste our time negotiating. In fact, our trade deal with the EU is lopsided in itself, and that was a Tory construction that they foisted upon us like a bunch of bastards. But yeah, it's great, isn't it? Anyway, that's why some farmers are upset. They will lose out if they don't defend their masters to the bone. Being close to money allows access. And new EU rules kick in today. That's what's happening. New EU rules kick in today. Our business is again adversely affected, and it's not restricted to our EU sales. It affects Northern Ireland sales. That's from SG. Yeah, rules that we have no say over. The Indian FTA is still going through. That's probably not going to be great for us either. Well, the deal with Australia is famously terrible. The idea that they could sell us 20,000 tons of beef a year and we couldn't sell them a single soggy brisket. And then someone was challenged about this. A Tory was challenged about this on one of those shows where Tories actually get challenged. And they said, oh, but we don't sell, that's not our market, we sell other things. We don't care about beef. We don't care about, and it's like, okay, so you don't care about the farmers, right? Okay, that's interesting. Because it seems to me that when it's politically expedient to care about the farmers, you care about them a lot. Okay, what else have we got in here? There should be a collection box in each GP practice and the hospital. Main desk where grateful patients can anonymously donate whatever they can or want to supplement voluntarily to the health service. Yes, Peter. And I think that if you got a receipt of how much it would have cost if you had the private system that Nigel Farage wants, that would be really effective. And to have that, donation box, when people are grateful, they will give money to that hospital and for the staff for looking after them. And that money should be put back into the hospital, and a proportion of it should be given to the staff as bonuses. So you have a hospital where the staff are really, really lovely and they really take care of people. That people will vote with their cash, and if they feel like they've had a bad experience, it's not going to stop the hospital from operating, but there's an incentive there for the people working in the hospital to be a little bit, better with the bedside manner in some cases. In some cases with consultants. I think we should have more female consultants, more women consultants, because they tend to be more empathetic than men. Men tend to go, yes, it's very bad. Yes, it's as bad as it can be. Yes, you're going to die. Next. That's not great, is it? That's not great. So yeah, more women, more people from other backgrounds, which we have quite a few of in our NHS, because we have people from all over the world propping it up. And you have people like Nigel Farage saying, the reason why you can't see a doctor is because of all these foreigners coming over. And it's like, no, the reason you can't see a doctor is because of underfunding, systemic underfunding over years of the Tory regime, the last 14 years. That's the reason why you can't see a doctor. In fact, the doctor that you see is probably from another country. Probably had their education paid for in another country, which is great because it didn't cost us anything. So let's have more of that. Let's have more immigration, more people from all around the world coming here because it's such a great country. And also it annoys the gangans. 58,000 immigrants from Africa with lessened requirements for immigration. Yay, says Donkey. Yeah, huge NHS bonuses on joining. Donkey's writing loads of messages one after the other. Don't do that. The soggy biscuit is needed for the free rights. Soggy brisket, I said. The Indian trade deal on the government website has a big prefix at the top blaming Johnson for it. I'll have to check that out. And Wayne says, yeah, but Tim Tams, which are disappointing penguin. The Indian FTA, I've mentioned that one. The EU. How about those poor farmers who get paid tuppence for their hard work, but they have golden tractors? If they could only sell, they'll be almost billionaires. They will be. Those pictures of the golden tractors, that was all AI. That was all bullshit. Join the EU, do it under the EU's terms, not rejoin, not get the special privileges we had as one of its founding members, do it under our own merit. And Russell says, could the government set up an office in the EU that all of us small businesses can use as a designated EU address as required from today? Yes, that's a very good idea, actually, Russell. Should we put that forward? Should we put that forward to our elected representatives? But China said, Britain, do you remember the Opium Wars? Nah, mate, what's that then? We love you, you know. Well, Britain, we do. Yeah, the two Opium Wars that we fought because they wouldn't sell us our opium. They didn't like us selling opium. Gaina 111. More immigration, that would certainly be deeply unpopular and certainly lead to a reform win, says Hayton Puds. Well, it will result in a reform win unless we capitalise on things that drop into our lap, like the murder of the CEO, which has made people realise that a healthcare-based system, an insurance-based healthcare system, is not the best system and results in people dying, lots of people dying. And people have realised that, and now Farage, that footage of Farage calling for an insurance-based system and the destruction of the NHS. This man wants to destroy the NHS. This man wants to destroy that should be on the billboards all over the country. Just a picture of Farage. This man wants to join the NHS. I don't understand why the left feel like we can't campaign unless there's an election going on. And the rest of the time we should just be shut up. We should just shut up and sit in the corner or something. No, we need to keep the pressure on and make sure that the reform fuckers don't get anywhere in the next election, because everyone knows what they stand for, which is to make the rich richer and everyone else poorer. Graham, the implication is that the farmers are actually massively wealthy, but people are being focused on the duplicity that they are poor. Excellent, your fascist duality in opposition. Well, yeah, I mean, you know, not all farmers are massively wealthy, but the massively wealthy were buying farms like Dyson and Clarkson. They were buying farms to avoid paying tax. So Labour closed that loophole, and then suddenly, oh my God, we're going to go on a protest. We're going to go to London in a protest. Who's paying for all this? Who's paying for this massive protest in London? Oh, I'll tell you who's paying for this massive protest in London. The right-wing gobshites out there. You know, the right-wing gobshites. We sold North Sea gas rights to Norway to keep them sweet as allies under US dictation, says Satnav. Yeah, that's true. Norway famously has its own sovereign wealth fund. Something that Labour said that they are interested in doing for the UK, but Norway started theirs in the 1970s, and now it's worth over 1 million kroner, or the Norwegian kroner. Not Danish kroner anymore. Norway's not part of Denmark anymore. Used to be, you know. They had a referendum for independence, and I think it was like 99% of Norwegians said they wanted to be their own country. True story. But yeah, Norway, Norwegian kroner, 1 million Norwegian kroner, which is about £100,000 per person in a sovereign wealth fund kept by the government for each person. Brilliant. Scott, problem is, Graham, that in election times politicians listen. Other times we are just an annoyance. I agree that with the Conservatives in charge, it certainly was like that. But I think with Labour, there are a lot more Labour MPs, and yeah, we can sit here and complain about the leadership and, you know, the decisions they've taken and their red lines and all the bullshit. But the actual Labour MPs, the vast majority of them are decent people. They are genuinely decent people who genuinely want the best for their constituents and the best for their country, and they're not in it to make shitloads of money. I mean, some might be, but I don't think that the majority are, like the Tories, who are all in it to make loads of money. or because they feel like they are born to rule, because they were born to a rich bunch of bastards who, I don't know, probably had links to the slave trade back in the day, and into the generational wealth, and which led to them going to Eton or Harrow or Winchester, and letting them believe that they were born to rule. I mean, hardly any of those Tory MPs needed the job. I mean, Lee Anderson maybe needed the job, but apart from that, they all had money. They all had shitloads of money. They didn't need that job. Rishi Sunak didn't need the job of being Prime Minister. He just wanted to make more money for himself by having a deal with India. That wasn't very good for Britain. Hi, Graham. Oh, it's Ivan. Hi, Ivan. How you doing, mate? I haven't seen you for a while. I've had more than enough of the right-wing dominated press and media. Labour needs to overhaul the press and media. When will they do this? The MPs that I've spoken to about this, because obviously it's a big thing for me, along with getting, I don't know, impact assessments into Brexit, have said it's not a priority. That's their excuse for a lot of things, actually. But I understand why they're saying that. I think they're dead wrong. I think it should be a priority for Labour to reform the press, so the press have to tell the truth, and the press can't manipulate people and put and drip poison and lies into their ears and into their eyes every day of every minute of every hour of every day. I don't think that should be allowed. I think that when they make an outrageous claim that turns out not to be true on the front page of the newspaper, there's no retraction on page 28 in the footnote. No, the retraction has to be on the front page for a week, and it has to say that we're sorry, that we lied to you. We lie. This isn't the first time, and it won't be the last. We're just liars. That's what we do. We just lie. We just lie. Rishi lost 100 million from his net worth during his time as PM, but secured over 500 million in agreements with Infosys. So he made a net gain technically. Yes, in a newspaper. Nah, mate. But yeah, the press does desperately need overhauling. I think that Labour, although they'll say it's not a priority, it damn well should be, especially for Labour, because let's face it, like the newspapers are absolutely gunning for them. It's not in Labour's interest to allow them to print whatever the hell they like, whatever lies they like, especially in the lead up to the next election where it looks like Reform and the Tories, if they decide to merge, which could happen, Labour are going to be in a lot of trouble, because Refuck were one of the biggest parties that people voted for in the last election. They got more votes than the Lib Dems. Lib Dems obviously are a proper political party, so they knew what they were doing, and therefore ended up with over 80 MPs, whereas Reform, scattergun, just any old bod, just put a rosette on a pig, literally, and put them on the podium. Strategy yielded them 4 MPs, and then 1 defected or something or joined later, so 5 MPs altogether. 5 MPs. That's that idiot Leanderthal, who's apparently the chief whip. He couldn't even get his own MPs. There's only 5 of them, and Farage is never there, so like 4 of them. He couldn't even get them to vote the right way. I mean, it's just funny. Hillsborough saying donkey. Mike Dix. Hi, Mike. How you doing, mate? It's good to see you. Come on the show tonight. Come on the show. We're doing a show tonight. We're doing a show. I think Rishi was just trying to get his father-in-law to like him. I look down on him because he's Rishi Sunak and he's tiny. Anyway, so back to the economy. Back to the money. The money. So some ideas came in when I asked. That was a good one about the really pushing for sort of local economy, pushing for local economies. So it's not just a bunch of chain stores on the street. We need an overhaul of our city centres completely. Obviously, the old model of city centre shopping isn't really cutting the mustard anymore. As we can see this as more and more city centre shops are getting shuttered. And also, we need to rethink how we operate in our urban environment. For too many years, we have absolutely laid down at the altar of the car. And although London, which is doing all right in it, London's doing all right in it. when it comes to public transport. The rest of the country, it's awful. And if you want to generate money in local areas, people being stuck in their homes and having to buy everything off fucking eBay is Amazon or eBay. Yeah, Amazon it is not the solution to generating more money in the local economy. It doesn't work that way. So we have to have better transport and more joined up thinking when it comes to transport. It breaks my heart that the trams of the UK were all taken away from us in the 1950s by the automobile companies that didn't want them there because they were competition to their cars, the dirty, disgusting gas, oil belching cars that have led to the destruction of, well, will lead to the destruction of life on Earth as we know it. We just had this category of a category 4 storm, no, a red alert storm for wind last weekend, and in our back garden, our trampoline still upside down. Catherine couldn't sort it out by herself, so now I'm here and it's light. It was dark when I got back yesterday, so now it's light. I'm going to go and fix that after the show. I love my car so much, though, says Scott. Yes, people love their car. I hate my car. It's not even my car, it's Catherine's car, but I hate cars. I hate driving. I hate everything about them. I just hate them. They're just horrible things. Cars, hotels, airports, 3 things I just hate. I just don't like them. I just put up with them because you have to, because that's life. But I'd rather be doing literally anything else than driving. I can't tell you how much I hate it, especially the fact that you spend most of the time driving in this country sitting in traffic, which isn't fun. But for some reason, the car, my comfort in the car is paramount. In a car that's nice and warm in the winter and nice and cool in the summer, and I'm sitting down, literally sitting down. My comfort takes priority over pedestrians who, for some reason, they want to go over a bridge to get across the dual carriageway. No, put traffic lights in. No, the cars cannot stop. No, they can just put traffic lights in, and they can pedestrian lights and go across the pedestrian. No, we're going to have a big whirly curly bridge, and you're going to have to walk half a mile up to the top, and then you walk across the road, and then you walk half a mile down. What, in the rain? Yeah, in the rain. In the sleet? Yeah, in the sleet. When it's really, really, really hot? Yeah, when it's really, really hot. The little squishy person needs to walk all the way up there and across, and then all the way down in all elements, because they can have their lives disrupted by the fact that the cars cannot stop. Someone decided in the 1950s that cars can't stop, which was a ridiculous notion because cars have to stop because there's too many of them. But we'll introduce 4-lane motorways, not 5-lane motorways, 6-lane motorways, all going into a city that has dual carriageways. So 2 lanes. It's 5 lanes going down to 2. Do you think that's going to create a bottleneck? No, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. We'll just bulldoze half the city down like they did in Newcastle and build some whirly curly motorway things that people take the wrong turning off and then have to drive for another half an hour to find out where the hell they're going. Yeah, all good. I'll do away with all that. Bring back cobbled streets, because you can't drive fast down the cobbled streets unless you want all your teeth to shake out your face. That's what I'll do. So yeah, my ideas for the economy, for turbocharging the economy, are join the EU, and rejoin the EU. But apart from that, yeah, investment in public transport, investment in getting people from A to B, and that really does help stimulate the economy, and not just locally, but also across the country. I would like to see subsidies for train services so that you can get the train to London for a tenner. And that's, at a time when the trains aren't particularly being used. Instead of having half an empty train, you have a full train and everyone's paying a tenner for that train. Like what they do with EasyJet and Ryanair, and make loads of money because they don't have any empty seats. Seems like, no-brainer to me, but what do I know about capitalism? Old tram lines are buried in the central reservations on Mather Avenue, Menlove Avenue, etc. Yes, they are, Martin, and the fact they've taken away is just disgraceful. 100 years ago, Liverpool had one of the most advanced integrated transport networks in the world. They had tram lines, they had omnibus routes, they had ferries across the Mersey, and they had an effective rail system, which meant that pretty much everyone in the city was less than half a mile away from a train station. They took all that away in the 60s because car companies and oil companies were like, no, electric trams, no, I'm not having that. We need to burn fuel in the most inefficient way possible because I need to make loads of money and destroy the planet in the process. But there you go. There's an interesting letter from over 100 years ago, which was published in one of the newspapers from a scientist saying, hey, burning all this carbon is going to create carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and that's going to lead to global warming. So don't tell me that they didn't know about it or no one had thought about it. They totally had. Toronto has all the modalities. Yes, Toronto's pretty cool. They have trams in Toronto and train lines. They've got 4 train lines, but they closed one of them down last year, so they've got 3 train lines. And there's no line 3. There's a line 1, there's a line 2, there's a line 4, but there is no line 3, which shall not be mentioned anymore. I don't know if they're putting in a new line that they're going to call the line 3, or they're just going to skip to 5. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, they've also got the path, which is basically an underground walkway. So when it's cold upstairs, in the real world, you can go in this Logan's Run world under the ground and just walk about across the entire city. It's like you, it's like all the basements are all connected up, and all of the train stations are connected up by this walkway. And 1 minute you could be in the basement of a bank, and suddenly all the walls become all very lush and Art Deco-y, and then you're in a department store. You're literally walking through a department store on the way to. It's really weird, but really fun, and it's great to get lost in, which we did a lot. But there you go: overground, underground, trolleys, buses, etc. Exactly. Drive A, Drive C, Drive D. Where is Drive B? Well, Drive B traditionally you had your 3.5-inch floppy, didn't you? And wasn't it a 5.25-inch? Floppy. It was supposed to be 2 floppy drives. That was your A and B drive, and then your C drive was your hard drive, because that was back in the day. But it's a good question, Ivan. Thank you very much. I would give. Thank you very much for the super chat. That's very kind of you. I would give anything to have my driving license back after I had to surrender it due to medical reasons. I'm sure, Ivan. Yeah, I completely understand that. Because it means you would have the freedom to go wherever you want, whenever you wanted. I would like to see a system where we integrate the technology that we have today with public transport, so that when you need to go somewhere, you can go there really, really cheaply in a minibus that just comes and picks you up. And you don't have to worry about driving yourself. And if you want, you can have a drink, whatever. But it means that we have that effective system in place. We don't. I mean, we have a bus here in Durham that comes once every half an hour, usually, maybe, I don't know. And then at the weekends it goes down to like once an hour, and then on Sundays it just doesn't run at all. It just doesn't run. So don't go anywhere on a Sunday, boys and girls. Just stay in your house and buy things off Amazon. Not good for the economy. Anyway, right. So in oh my God, I've gone way over time. So it's supposed to be half an hour, isn't it, for this show? I just need to stop wobbling my table as well. Montreal Underground is awesome. During winter, going to visit friends. Get your MP to approve government petition. There's a government petition. 9-inch floppy if you want to. What's this? It's a 9-inch floppy if you want to launch a city destroyer. Good idea. That form of transport is definitely the way forward. Yeah, absolutely. And they do it in other countries. This is the maddening thing. Like, shared taxis are a normal thing in other countries, and I don't understand why the bus that goes past me has to be a double decker when there's never enough people to really justify a double decker bus. Just send a minibus. Just send a little electric minibus. It will have enough space in it for the people who need to get to town. The town's only like 15 minutes from here. It's not very far. But yeah, being able to summon it, and also school buses. I mean, I would talk about this, but separately. So in America, they have big yellow buses, and they come and pick up your kids from your house and take them to their school, and it's free. It's paid for by the taxpayer. In the UK, we don't have that. So the most capitalist system in the world, where they hate socialism, they hate socialized anything, socialized Medicare, socialized medicine, they have this great system where they actually pick kids up from outside their houses and take them to their school, which avoids the whole school run bullshit, where thousands of parents every day have to drop their kids off at the school gates, and they all have to get as close as possible to those school gates, which is the most insane way of dealing with the issue of getting kids to school. No, have a school bus, goes round the neighborhoods, and it picks up all the kids that are on the list and takes them to the school. Not all the kids, because some of them can walk, but the ones who are a bit further out. Mike Dix, also in Madrid, they buried a 6-lane motorway, built parks and cycleways on top of it, and rewilded the river. Oh, that's what I'd like. That's what I would like. More of that, please. More of that. Motorways just split communities, and they were used as a way to split communities, especially in the US, where they were always bulldozed. They just bulldozed the black communities, and they put a 6-lane freeway in there. We need transformer buses that go click, 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 and become giant robots and carry a person in their hand. Okay, Donkey. On that note, thank you very much for watching. I'll be back at 1 o'clock. I think I just say my cable arrived, by the way. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to do it in proper studio mode. Although this is all right, isn't it? It's a background. So I got a bookshelf there. Looks like I read books. As if. And there's a map of the world there. It's all splotchy. And a globe, because you always need a globe. Oh my God, Dan Smith. Sorry, David. Shit, got his name wrong. Can't believe I got your name wrong there, mate. When you just gave me money. David, thank you, David Smith. Visiting Japan, won't be watching live again until New Year. Got a favorite Japanese city, but wishing a wonderful festive period. If you were Starmer, what would be your political resolutions? Thank you very much, David. And my favorite Japanese city is Fukuoka, and that's because it's the only one I've been to. Let's have a think. What would be my New Year's resolutions? Rejoin the EU. Press reform. That would be my New Year's resolution. I'll just get press reform done. Obviously they've got their red lines or whatever, so I would go in really hard in negotiations with the EU to join this kind of like outer sphere of the EU, the outer orbit of the EU, along with Ukraine and Moldova and Serbia and Albania and whoever else wants to join it, which will allow us a bit more easy access to the single market than we have at the moment, because obviously we are outside the single market and that isn't great for our economy. I would resolve to try and move our economy, economically, diplomatically away from, quietly, we'll make a big fuss about it, but just sort of recenter our focus back towards our own continent and away from America. I would also want to bring in, you've opened a can of worms here. I'd also like to bring in a charter for the Commonwealth, agreed on by all the heads of the Commonwealth countries as something to aspire to. And also we talk about reparations to Commonwealth countries that we owe. We definitely owe these countries that we went in, took all their stuff, messed around, moved people around, took people from one place, put them in another. We need to pay those reparations in the form of investment in these countries. So I would do that as well. But yeah, the economy, stupid, needs to pick up. So I would be doing everything in my power to facilitate easy trade across the EU. I would rejoin Erasmus. I would also make sure that we had regulations all squared up with the EU, so that we didn't have our own, rules and regulations on products and things. No, we'll just have conformity across the EU. Thank you very much, and that'll do us, because that means that any products that we make, we can sell anywhere in the EU. That's the idea. I don't know if he's going to be doing a bit of this anyway. A regulatory alignment. That's the phrase I was searching for in my head while I was babbling on there. Regulatory alignment with the EU, with an eye of, rejoining at some point. There's a lot of issues that need looking at, but I do think that for Labour, I think it's very, very worthwhile for them to do something about the press in this country. And that includes social media as well. Let's say the means of communication. Do something about the means of communication, because at the moment, 99% of our means of communication are owned by disgusting right-wing nepo baby scumbags who would, shit on you as soon as look at you. These people aren't nice. They're not good people. They don't have our best interests at heart. They have their own agendas and their own vested interests that they care about, and you are not one of them. Let me tell you, Elon Musk is not your friend, and neither is Prince Andrew. At least Labour is maintaining dynamic alignment with the EU. That's good. That people think it has to do with Star Wars. Why does Emperor Jar Jar have to apologise and honest and transparent in the first place due to candor? See you later, says Colin. Thank you. Yeah, to go back to David's question, there's a bunch of stuff. I'll make a list. Last Christmas, I gave you my health. Oh God, have I just wham again, people? I hope not. I think it only counts if you hear wham playing it. Last Christmas, I made a list of all the things I'd like Labour to do when they got into power. Yeah, I stand by that. So I might repost that video this Christmas and say, as a little reprise and say, no, well, this worked, this didn't work. Anyway, I'll leave you in the safe and capable hands of James O'Brien, if you want to go and listen on LBC, and we'll be back at 1 o'clock once James has finished babbling. Me and Phil will be here. Phil Morehouse from A Different Bias. You know the guy, Phil. Yeah, he's going to be back on the channel. Yay! Come back, subscribers who left because Phil's not on this anymore. He still is. Don't worry, he's not going anywhere. Yeah, we'll be talking about all this and more. And then tonight at 9:30, me and Mike Dix, obviously, and others will be doing the Friday night social. So please join us for that, the first proper one in a month. So coolio. Thank you very much for everyone for watching. Thanks for the super chats. It's very kind of you. And until next time, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.